They didn't arrive in warships. They didn't broadcast ultimatums. No flashing lights, no sonic booms, no fire in the skies, just silence. And then, a whisper. Every screen on Earth, phone, monitor, stadium, billboard, flickered for a fraction of a second. And then a face appeared. Not a human one. Smooth, stone-like, pale as starlight. Eyes like distant supernovae, far too calm to belong to anything that knew violence. It spoke, not in English, not in Mandarin, not in sound. Everyone understood anyway. We come to offer protection. You are not ready, but the danger is. They called themselves the Varelians, though the name meant nothing. According to them, they were the keepers of the Accord, guardians of young civilizations in the galaxy. Earth, they claimed, had drawn attention. The wrong kind, and the Varelians had come to help. Naturally, Earth didn't believe a damn word of it. Within hours, representatives from every major power were in Geneva, sitting across a shimmering table from the alien envoy, its form flickering like a ghost in a storm. The president of the Unified Earth Council, Annika Cole, leaned forward. Her voice was steady, sharper than it needed to be. Protect us. From what? The Varelian paused. A long silence, like the space between lightning and thunder. We cannot say. You won't say, General Haynes growled beside her. It listens when named. Cole narrowed her eyes. Then let me be clear. You've come across galaxies to offer Earth protection. Free of charge, no strings attached. And you can't tell us what we're in danger from. Another pause. Your species has accelerated, fire, tools, atomics, signals that stretch beyond your system. You shine too brightly. The hunter sees light. Cole pushed her chair back slowly. We've survived ourselves for centuries. We'll survive your boogeyman. And then she said the line that shattered the illusion of Earth's innocence. Who exactly do you think we need protection from? The Varelian looked disturbed, not afraid, not angry, but shaken, as if no one had ever asked. You are not ready. We've never been ready, Haynes said, and we're still here. The Varelian's image faded without another word, and suddenly, silence felt louder than ever before. Across Earth, debate erupted. Scholars, scientists, soldiers. Should we trust them? Should we prepare for war? What danger were they afraid to name? And somewhere, deep in a mountain base carved from cold rock, General Haynes poured himself a glass of aged bourbon, stared out at the sky, and said to no one in particular, if someone out there thinks humanity's already dangerous, maybe they're right to be afraid. They didn't wait for the galaxy to explain itself. Earth never has. While the Varelians withdrew in silence, the wheels of human preparation turned, not with panic, though some called it that, but with precision. Quiet labs under oceans, space stations that weren't on any registry, drones launched far beyond Pluto watching the edge of black. They called it Project Sentinel. Its job? To look where no one was looking. Not just stars or signatures, but patterns, unnatural ones. Whispers in the electromagnetic dark, ghosts in the cosmic static. And then, one day, it found something. A signal. Not a transmission. Not a message. A heartbeat. A rhythmic pulse coming from the edge of an uninhabited system, somewhere no probes should be, no ship should go. It was old. Too old. It didn't match any known alien language. And it didn't ask for help. It asked for silence. One repeating line in near-universal binary. Do not light the sky. Earth's response was simple. They lit it. A deep space reconnaissance vessel, crewed by 3 volunteers, humans of course, was launched with stealth tech so advanced it barely cast shadows. It took them 2 months to get there. What they found wasn't a derelict. It was a trap. A shattered moon orbiting an artificial sphere the size of Manhattan. The surface looked like bone fused with glass. Dead machinery littered the cratered plain, but some of it still hummed, alive in the way tumors are alive. The ship's pilot, Reyes, said it best. This thing wasn't built. It was grown, and then it killed its gardener. No one had touched the site in millennia. The Varelians hadn't warned them about this. But the most terrifying part? There were footprints, fresh ones, big, not human, not animal, not Varelian, just wrong. And then the comms cut out. A single message made it back to Earth before the signal collapsed. Reyes whispered, "We were not the first to ignore the warning." And then silence. This time, it was not peaceful. The chamber fell into stunned silence. The words had been simple, ordinary, spoken without malice. But the weight of the human diplomat's voice still hung in the air like smoke after a plasma strike. "Protect us? From who?" It echoed, not just in the room, but across the thought nets of every species connected to the meeting. No one had ever asked the question before. No one had dared. For centuries, the Galactic Accord had operated under the assumption that all younger species needed protection. That Earth would accept the offer was inevitable. But Earth didn't. The Dravari Chancellor, a being evolved from a carnivorous insect line, blinked its triple eyelids and adjusted its translator. We mean to shelter your species from the outer rims," it buzzed. "Where lawlessness and raiders still—" The human tilted his head. "Raiders? We've fought pirates before. Cleared whole trade lanes with 2 carriers and a few drone swarms." The Thulian representative, tall, silver-skinned, almost statuesque, stepped forward smoothly. "Then perhaps you misunderstand. These are not pirates, human. These are remnants of the Scourge worlds, civilizations that devoured entire biospheres to fuel their war engines. We barely contained them centuries ago." The human raised an eyebrow, calm. "And now you think they're returning?" Another silence. And that's when it became clear. The Accord wasn't trying to offer protection. They were trying to buy time. Earth hadn't been invited to the Galactic Council out of generosity. It had been strategic. A new pawn. One more shield to throw into the fire when the real threat returned. The room shifted. Ambassadors whispered. Antennae twitched. Feathers ruffled. The human's eyes scanned the crowd like a tactician taking mental notes before battle. Then he leaned forward, his voice lower, colder. "You didn't come here to save us. You came here hoping we'd bleed for you." An uproar broke out. Denials, objections, declarations of peace and harmony. But none of it changed the human's gaze, steady and unreadable. Meanwhile, in Earth orbit, the UES Resolute quietly activated its deep space arrays. Human Command had already anticipated this. And somewhere, deep in a classified lab below Antarctica, Project Hyperion powered up for the first time. The galaxy had underestimated Earth. The diplomatic chamber's tension was nothing compared to the cold calculations happening thousands of kilometers away, in the hidden nerve centers of Earth's defense. Commander Alara Voss stood before the panoramic display aboard the UES Resolute, her eyes flicking over data streams that painted a grim portrait of the galactic threat. "Scourge worlds," she muttered, repeating the name like a curse. They were thought wiped out centuries ago. Her second in command, Lieutenant Haroun, frowned. "How can they be back? Last we heard, the Galactic Federation's fleets quarantined that sector with total force." Alara shook her head slowly. "Information flows, but so do lies. The Federation may have held the front, but we can't trust their word anymore. If they're calling us protectorate, it means they're scared. And scared means there's something coming worse than any of us imagined." Back in the council chamber, the human diplomat's gaze remained sharp. He wasn't just negotiating words, he was buying time. Time for Earth to prepare. But in the shadows of the galactic corridors, unseen eyes watched. Old enemies whispered. Hidden alliances shifted. A game far older and darker than any peace treaty played out. The human's simple question, "Protect us from who?" had peeled back a mask, revealing cracks in the Grand Alliance. And where there are cracks, darkness seeps in. Meanwhile, on a desolate asteroid belt near the outer rims, a mysterious ship flickered into life. Its hull battered, its engines low but functional. Inside, an ancient being, exiled long ago, smiled coldly. The game begins anew. Weeks had passed since the Federation's meeting, but the tension still lingered like a heavy fog over Earth's diplomatic halls. Commander Jax Marlowe and his team worked tirelessly, piecing together intelligence from deep space signals, intercepted transmissions, and ancient star maps. What they uncovered was staggering. The threat the Galactic Federation warned about wasn't some distant marauder fleet or shadowy warlords. It was far more insidious, a coalition of galactic factions that viewed Earth not as a helpless world, but as a ticking time bomb. Humans, the Federation believed, were dangerous, unpredictable, and brutal. Space orcs, some called them in hushed tones, recalling humanity's rapid rise through warfare, innovation, and sheer stubborn willpower. But the Federation hadn't accounted for something crucial. Humans were not just fighters or survivors. They were innovators, problem solvers born from hardship and chaos. Fire, tools, weapons. These were basic to humans long before the Federation species even built their first camps. As Jax reviewed the evidence, he realized Earth's greatest strength wasn't its advanced weaponry or fleet size. It was the human spirit, a relentless drive to adapt, learn, and fight for survival on their own terms. When the Federation finally came forward with their offer of protection, they were met with an unexpected response. Protect us from whom? Jax had asked bluntly during the meeting. It wasn't a question of defiance, but of clarity. Humanity refused to be a silent passenger on a ship they didn't control. The Federation had underestimated the humans' ability to look beyond the obvious and challenge the status quo. Back on Earth, scientists and engineers reverse-engineered alien tech with astonishing speed, blending it with human ingenuity. Weapons were improved, defenses strengthened, and new strategies developed. But more importantly, humanity forged alliances with unexpected allies, other species who, like humans, resented the Federation's paternalistic oversight. The galaxy was shifting. The Federation's carefully constructed narrative of protection was cracking. Earth was no longer a world to be sheltered. It was a force to be reckoned with. Jax looked out at the stars from the command deck, knowing that the real test was yet to come. The Federation's offer was only the beginning. Humanity would fight, not just to survive, but to claim its rightful place among its rightful. The Galactic Federation's Grand Assembly was in uproar. For decades they had played the role of galactic overseers, the benevolent guardians of lesser species. But Earth had shattered that illusion. When Earth's representatives stood tall, no longer seeking protection but demanding respect and autonomy, everything changed. Commander Jax Marlowe addressed the council, his voice calm but resolute. "We didn't ask to be saved," he said. "We asked to be recognized, to stand as equals, not wards. Earth survived countless wars, plagues, and disasters without outside help. We do not fear the darkness. We are the darkness that fears nothing." His words echoed through the chamber, shaking the very foundations of the Federation. Around the galaxy, other species began to question the old order. They saw how Earth's rise challenged the established hierarchy, inspiring hope and rebellion. Back home, humanity was ready. They had built fleets capable of matching any armada, forged alliances with those who had been ignored or oppressed, and honed their technologies far beyond what anyone expected. But more than fleets and weapons, humanity brought something new. A willingness to confront threats head-on, to fight dirty if needed, and to survive against all odds. The Federation sent emissaries to Earth, some with open hands, others with clenched fists. But Earth's answer was clear. No longer would it be a galaxy's pawn or its project. As the sun set over Earth's cities, Jax watched the horizon, feeling the weight of responsibility. "The galaxy thought we needed saving," he murmured. "They were wrong. Now they'll see what it means to face humanity." The dawn was breaking, not just over Earth, but over a new era where humans no longer begged for protection. They claimed their destiny, and the galaxy would never be the same again.